Hello, and welcome back to Mindfully Rich Podcast, your weekly look at life and finances with a twist where we talk about improving your overall relationship with money and building better financial habits. On each episode, I'll discuss real life situations and give y'all practical advice. The point of this podcast is to help you stay in your financial lane so you won't end up broke. I'm the creator and host, Gina Richie Richardson. Now, let's jump into today's conversation. What's up, y'all? What's up, child? Let me tell you what. When I was getting all of the details ready for this episode, I was like, I cannot believe the last episode was on September 5th. But child, let me tell y'all, because I'm very transparent, okay? For those of y'all that are new, welcome. So glad that y'all are here. But I'm a very transparent person. And so for the people that's been rocking with me for the longest, y'all know when I've been gone, I'm going to tell you what's been happening, okay? And so I had a death in my immediate family. And so I was back in Chicago for 2 weeks or so. That was right after I released the last episode. So for me, I be thinking, you know what? You got this. You can do all things, right? Okay. Even though I can do all things, I didn't expect the emotional toll of the death in the family, of what that would have on me. So for those of y'all who know me and those of y'all who listen, you know I talk about my mom all the time. My mom was my heart. My mom is what I call her. And she passed away October 7th, 2018. And so my mom was the baby girl, and her two brothers are now both gone. Her last brother passed away in September. That was the reason why I was at home. And so my grandmother has now lost all of her kids. So it was just emotional, just thinking of how my family is dwindling down. I'm still young, so I would never have thought at the age of 33 I would have been without my mom. And here I sit at 37, like, you know, I feel orphaned. Like I feel like an orphan sometimes, like an adult orphan, because I'm like, wow, you know, just to see my cousins and I lose our parents. You know, I've now lost both my parents. It's just a lot. So I had a lot of thought that was going on during that time. I went to visit my mom's grave. I had a lot of emotions there because I haven't visited in about a year. So, you know, I had a lot to talk about. You know, we go to the graves, child, and let me tell you what, it'd be so many people out there at the grave sites talking. So you don't feel crazy. You know, it's one of those things where I get the most peace being out there at my mom's grave site. And, you know, it was just a good thing. And so I've been doing a lot of thinking myself, just trying to get myself back to where I need to be, just because I had to realize if I'm grieving, let me grieve. Right? Let me go through those processes. And so I did have to take some time off just to get through all of the things that were going on there. Y'all know I'm a solopreneur, full-time entrepreneur right now, 5 months in the game, and child, whoa, this is not easy. All right. And so with battling with doing all of these things, I literally had to take some time off, which brings me to the new way that I'm going to release episodes, because I told y'all a while back, I was thinking about it like, dang, what I'm going to do? How is this going to go? And so I did come up with, I'm going to start releasing episodes every 2 weeks. It's going to be bi-weekly. So this is going to be your bi-weekly paycheck. Okay. Think about it like that. When you get paid, you can expect the podcast to be new. That's just kind of where I'm at now, just because every week was unrealistic for me to continue. So I want to make sure that I'm being transparent with y'all. I'm just not, it ain't in the cards right now. And so we just gonna go ahead and go to bi-weekly. Child, I didn't release today is episode 104, y'all. 104 episodes in 2.5 years, child. I'm gonna say that that's good. So I'm cool with taking a break off of bringing y'all episodes every week. And just to be completely honest with y'all, when I release episodes weekly, it's not until about week 2 or 3 that y'all really listen to that episode anyway. So for the most part, I feel like it falls in line. That's the one thing about being a podcaster for so long. I'm realizing things, my do's and don'ts and best practices based off of how y'all listen. All right. And this is even when I was bringing episodes week after week after week. So it's just me just paying attention to what's going on. And I want to make sure that I'm always paying attention to the stats and things like that. So I feel like I done been on my soapbox. Let me go ahead and welcome y'all to the podcast again. Y'all, just because things are happening so big in my life. I'm so excited. Y'all, it's so much stuff that's just happening. Recently, I was featured on The Shade Room for my words of encouragement, inspiration, motivation. Child, look, let me tell you what, I know now this is my calling. This is where I need to be. This is my lane. And so although on the podcast, y'all hear me talking about finances and financial stuff, and of course I mix a lot of life stuff in there, that is the lane that I'm making sure that I keep open for myself, whether I'm doing that through finances, diversity, equity, and inclusion, just because that's another love and passion of mine. I am just making sure that I am opening up those doors to ensure, because I know, and I'm pretty sure that y'all can say that you feel pretty inspired, you feel pretty motivated after listening to the podcast, and that's my goal. And so I was super excited when I was featured. I had so many people reach out just because I told someone this. When I put out motivational, inspirational type posts, those be the posts that y'all just be like, all right, I guess it's cool. Y'all don't really view it like that. Like, I don't know what it is with people. It's just like the things that are just like of lights. Like, you don't see people really view as much. But in the background, those are the ones that people share and people save the most. So it's like, oh, okay, so people do like it, but they like it in the dark. That you don't get a lot of comments on those. It's interesting how those work, but I'm still grateful, and I'm gonna do this because I do it, not because of who gonna recognize me, because I know where my recognition comes from. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with y'all. So I know I have a lot of new followers. I can't wait to just welcome y'all to the podcast. Welcome y'all to my social media page of choice. IG is where I do most of my social media. I'm at mindfully_rich_podcast. I can't wait. I was figuring out my plan for the page and what I'm going to do to release over there, just because I have to separate myself, my Mindfully Rich page on IG, from the actual podcast page. And I finally figured out how I'm going to do that, because it was, y'all know, one woman team over here. So I was just like, what I'm going to do? How I'm going to do this? You know, I could have been consulted with somebody and asked, but I'm one of those people. I didn't. Okay, so this is where we at. So thank y'all so much for rocking with me throughout all of the breaks, throughout all of the time. I mean, child, because my followers of this podcast, the Rich Gang, y'all know I'm gonna come when I pop up is when y'all gonna get me, okay? And so I appreciate y'all for hanging in there with me. Once again, I'm gonna always give y'all full transparency. So thank y'all for rocking with me. And let's go ahead and get to the reason why y'all are here and jump into the Let's Talk About Money segment. So for those of y'all that are new, I created this segment. It has changed names over time. I get bored with names. I don't know. I'm just one of those people. And so this is the time where I take a topic and I discuss it. And so because of the news of Biden's student loan cancellation and forgiveness plans, child, I got so invested. I mean, to the point of where I'm literally writing an ebook as we speak to release before this series ends that I'm doing on the podcast. And so I created the Somebody Come Get These Student Loan series, because when I release a student loan video, just giving the details of what Biden's plan detailed, child, everybody loved it. They was like, we're going to be looking to you for updates. I recognize that because of the work that I do on social media, like the creativeness and the videos that I do, I got invited to go to a press conference for the Biden administration Department of Education student loans press conference. And I didn't even know that it was an official invite from the White House. I was like, shut up. What? A whole me? Okay. Like, I was like, what? So I signed up to go, but I didn't add it to my actual calendar. And it was during the funeral time, when I was, going to the funeral back at home and everything. So I didn't get a chance to attend, but I did get the new notes of some updates that they made to the plan. So y'all look for some videos on my podcast Instagram page coming up here soon to give y'all the updates to the actual Department of Education's forgiveness plan. So that's coming up. All right. So back to this episode. I kind of went off on a tangent. So today, this is episode 2 of the series. Episode 1, if you haven't listened to, is Conversation 103. So for those of y'all that are new, I call my episodes conversations just because that's what I feel like I'm having with y'all. One-sided type of conversation. Like, I feel like y'all here, y'all just ain't answering. Okay, I know how to talk. So, I got this. Okay, and so the first episode of this series, I just gave y'all some student loan basics. It was real, plain, simple ABC. Today's episode, child, look, you're going to have to make sure that you got your big girl underwear on. Okay, we just going to say underwear, child, because I want to be inclusive. Big girl underwear and big boy underwear on, okay, because it's going to be a lot of stuff said. I know talking about student loans can be very touchy. We can't stand them, which I get. I understand that. So sometimes we don't want to hear about student loans as much because it's something that we despise. But I want y'all to all remember there are over 48 million people that got student loan debt. So there is no room for shame. A bunch of us got it. And like Kendrick said, we're going to be all right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start off. Let me rewind real quick. This episode is going to be talking about lowering your student loan payments. Point blank, period. That's what we're talking about in this episode. So I got a lot of ground to cover from when you start paying your student loan payments back, just because I have a wide audience listenership. I may be talking to someone that's just getting out of school, that may be starting to pay their student loans. I may be talking to someone who's a seasoned student loan holder. You've had them for 10 plus years, or someone that's just, there's different people, right? You may be at the end. I don't know. All right. So I want to make sure that I'm covering all the bases of when you start paying your student loans back, some student loan refinance and consolidation tips for you so that you can understand which one works better for you. And then also your eligibility to qualify for an income-driven repayment plan. So all of that is going to be in today's episode. So it's going to be a lot. Today is probably going to be a longer episode. So y'all go ahead and just hold on. I ain't been on in a while, so why not make this a long episode? So let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So when it comes down to student loans, yes, we hate them. But when do you start paying your student loans back, right? So if you're in school now, you're about to graduate soon, if you have federal student loans, you get a 6 months grace period before you start paying your student loans back. So once again, if you're in school now and you graduate soon, you get a 6 month grace period to pay these student loans back, to start making your payments. Child, I got to give y'all this story because it always cracks me up. So my little sister Tanya, right, when she graduated from U of I remember we were supposed to be partying, and this was back in like 2000. I think she graduated in 2010. 10 or 11. Tanya, you have to let me know, child. Okay, so when she graduated, I can remember we were supposed to be partying, living it up, having a good time, drinking the drinks at that time because we celebrating. Child, I can remember her like it was yesterday. I'm like, girl, why you not drinking your drink? What's going on? Like, what's wrong? And she was like, I got to start making my student loan payments. And I was like, girl, you could think about that in 6 months. You do not have to think about that right now. And so I'm like, yes, you do have to think about it. I get that. But I'm just like, at this particular moment, there's no need to stress about it. That's what I was meaning. Like, I get it. We're going to think about it, but there's no need to stress about it. But just letting you know, yes, it's going to be on your mind. But this is the thing. While that's on your mind, we can also talk about what your repayment options are, and that's something that we're about to get into. So 6 months is your grace period if you have federal student loans. Now, in the previous episode, I told y'all the difference between federal student loans and private student loans. You'll have to go ahead and go back because I'm not going to continue to go over that. But federal student loans, just know you have that 6 months grace period. Now, for private student loans, yours are going to be a little different. It's going to depend on whoever your lender is who loaned you those student loans for you to go to school. They may have a 6 months grace period for you to repay your student loans. They may not. It's all up to them, right? Federal student loans, the one thing that you're going to hear from me throughout this episode and what I said on the previous episode, you have the most perks when it comes to student loans when you have federal student loans, all right? You have the most perks. Private student loans are just going to be counted as if it's like a regular loan that you went to a bank, a credit union, or finance company to get. There's not a lot of protections. There's not a lot of perks. All right. And you're going to get a chance to see that all throughout today's episode. So if you have private student loans, you're going to have to check with whoever that lender is and see when they're requiring you to start making your student loan payments. If it is going to be 6 months, if they give you any type of grace period at all. Some of them do, some of them don't. That's going to be the legwork that you're going to have to do. All right. Now, there are some exceptions to the rule when it comes to the 6 month grace period. Now, this one needs a little bit more clarification because I get all my details. I am a fact person. That's what you're going to learn. For those of y'all that are new, I get all of the facts. I went to what is the name of that website? Hold on, y'all. Studentaid.gov to get my information. Studentaid.gov. Yes, studentaid.gov is where I get all of my information from. So the exception to the rule is if you go on active duty status before your 6 months grace period is up. So let's say that you're in school right now, you're about to get out, and then you enter into active duty status. This is how I read it. You enter into active duty status. At that point, you can alert them and they will give you more of a grace period. It does not say how much. So if this is you, you're going to have to go ahead and go to studentaid.gov so you can get more details for yourself. Because, child, I don't know. They just said for my military folks, you about to get out of school, you go into active duty status, which don't make sense because what if you already in active duty status? But once again, this ain't for me. I'm just letting y'all know the information. Go ahead and check that out for yourself. Another exception to the rule for that 6 months grace period is if you're about to graduate, and this happens a lot in undergrad. You graduate undergrad, you like, I ain't paying these student loans back yet. I'm going to go to grad school. I'm just playing. That's probably not what y'all say. Some of y'all do, though. But if you stop undergrad and you go into a graduate program, then you can let them know. Then you go into what's called deferment status. Your loans will be on what's called deferment, which is a pause of your student loan payments while you're in school. Now, for this particular deferment I'm talking about, if you re-enter school, you have to just be taking, I believe it's halftime credits. Yep, it's halftime credits. Because I got some notes in front of me. Because I want to make sure I'm giving y'all the truth, child. I don't play that. I don't want nobody, it said, we don't do that here. Okay? All right. So those are the exceptions to the rule when it comes to that 6 month grace period for federal student loans and some private student loans. I don't know which one. You're going to have to check with your lender. All right. Next, I want to go ahead and move on to the difference between refinancing your student loans and consolidating your student loans, okay? Because this is big, and I want to make sure that y'all are listening, take notes, go back to it. That's the thing about this being a podcast. You can go back to it. You can like rewind and go back, okay? All right, so what does it mean to refinance your student loan? When you refinance a student loan, it's no difference from if you're refinancing, say, a home, a vehicle, a personal loan, a credit card, right? You're simply applying to get a new loan to change the current terms of your current loan, all right? To give you an example, let's say you have a student loan right now. That student loan has an interest rate of 5%. Your repayment time on that is 20 years, right? And you want to lower your student loan payment. So you decide, I want to refinance the student loan, so I can see if I can lower my payment. What you're doing is trying to change the terms. That's the only thing you're doing when it comes to a refinance. You're changing the terms, which is your interest rate. You're trying to lower your interest rate or increase the time that you're paying it back. In that same example, if you had a student loan at 5% interest and you're paying it back over 15 years, let's say now you're seeing if you qualify for an interest rate under 5% and if you can extend the time that you're paying that student loan. That's the only way that you lower your payment, is either decreasing your interest rate or increasing the time frame that you pay that student loan back. So hopefully y'all got that. So that's what a refinance is, point blank, period. And that applies to everything, right? Not even just your student loans, but just to let you know. All right. So when you're thinking about refinancing your student loans, the first question that you want to ask yourself is, should I refinance the student loan, and will it be a benefit to me? Because if you have a federal student loan, refinancing may not be a benefit to you. In most cases, it's not, just because federal student loans are sponsored basically from the government. So we have a lot of perks when it comes to our federal student loans. So I talked about subsidized and unsubsidized loans, right? So when you have subsidized federal student loans, those only come on the federal side of your student loans, right? Those are the student loans where while you're in school, you're not paying any interest back, right? For all private student loans, while you're in school, interest is being accumulated on your student loans while you're in school. But the perk of the federal student loans is you have programs that have very low interest, and then they will pause. There's no interest being built on your student loan while you're in school, which is a benefit, child. That is a benefit. Because think about it. So say for undergrad, you in school for up to 5 years. All of the interest that's being put on that loan, child, that's a lot. Okay? I don't know if y'all have ever looked at it, but you should go look at it. All right? That's a lot. And so that's the reason why federal student loans are going to be the preferred student loan to get versus a private student loan, because private student loans, you're going to have interest that's being built on top of your student loan while you're in school, right? And so going back, when it comes to refinancing a federal student loan, there's too many perks. So for us right now, I want you to think of one of the biggest perks we have. For all of us right now who have federal student loans, our student loans have been on pause since the pandemic started. We're over 2 years now. Yeah, we over 2 years and some months right now where our loans have been on pause. I'm going to say, let's say deferment status. They've been deferred all this time, and we haven't been earning any interest on our student loans, which is amazing, y'all. So there've been pause, and we haven't been paying any interest on those, because any loan type, y'all, you pay interest on, unless you got some type of loan that's 0%. But most loans, that's how the companies are making money, off of the interest that we pay. And so for those of us with federal student loans right now, we don't have no interest that's being accumulated on these loans, which is a perk. When you refinance your federal student loan out of being in a federal student loan into a private student loan, because you're thinking, you know what, I want to get a new interest rate. I want to make it longer. This may be good for me. You lose the perk of when the government decides to pause our loans and you don't have to pay any interest. You lose that perk right there. You also lose the perk, which we're going to go into, of any income-driven repayment plans. We're going to talk about that. You also lose the perk of the federal direct consolidation plans, and we're going to talk about consolidation coming up next. You lose those perks. You also lose the perks of those public forgiveness plans that they have. And that's going to be next episode, so I can't even go into it. But you lose the perks of qualifying for those deferments, those cancellations, those forbearances, those different federal consolidation plans, those income-driven repayment plans. You lose all of those perks, right? So the end doesn't define. What's that quote? Dig, I thought I had it, y'all. This is how you know it's live. Dang it. Dang it. And I ain't going back and editing it. I can't think of it. Is it the end? Meet something in the means? I don't know, child. Refinancing, let's go back to it. Refinancing federal student loans in most cases is a no-no. Don't do it. Look into your options. See if it works for you. But in most cases, it's a no. All right? This is a free podcast. I'm just going to end it right there. All right? For my clients, they know why. It's a no, all right? But it's a no. But when it comes to private student loans, because those are regular loans, like a regular personal loan that you went to a bank or credit union or a finance company to get, yes, refinance some things all day and night, all right? You found a loan that has less interest and you could do it for longer, yes, refinance it. Private student loans, yes, all the time. Why not? Okay? You don't have no perks really with private student loans. I ain't even gonna say really. You don't have any perks with private student loans. Those are just regular loans that you went so you can so you can pay for school. That's it. So private student loans, definitely look into your options to refinance your private student loans. All right. Moving on to consolidating your student loans. Same here. All right. So on the federal side of student loans, let me go back. What is a consolidation, right? When you have student loans. So think about regular consolidation. All right. You're condensing. You're moving from having multiple to condensing that to fewer or one. So when you have multiple student loans, and most of us do, right? I think I got like a total of 8. I think it's like 8 federal student loans because the way they disperse them, right? I have 8 federal student loans, right? Say I wanted to consolidate. When I'm consolidating those, instead of me paying 8 student loan payments, right? They're normally all due on the same day anyway, which is silly. But anyways, I'm consolidating all 8 of those into one student loan. And on the federal side, there is something called a direct consolidation loan that you can apply for to see if you can consolidate all of those student loans, those federal student loans that you have into one. All right. The perk of that is the interest rate, right? All of these student loans may have been given to you at different times. They may all have different interest rates. You want to get one interest rate to consolidate those loans, right? And now you'll have one payment instead of having multiple payments, right? For a lot of us, we like that. We don't like balancing multiple, okay? We faithful over here. We loyal. No, I'm just playing. That kind of is a thing. I don't know. You have to look into that and see, like the people who like to cheat on people, see if they like multiple loans like that, right? I would be interested in knowing that. But me being the loyal person that I am, I like to just have one, right? So you have an option on the federal student loan side of applying for what's called a direct consolidation loan so that you can condense those loans from having multiple to having one student loan, right? And when it comes to refinancing and consolidation, the goal is that you're either decreasing your interest rate or increasing the repayment terms, like the time frame that you pay those loans back, so that you can decrease your overall payments, right? That is the goal, okay? It could just be for consolidation purposes. You just want to add them all, and then you just want that one payment instead of the multiple. It could be that as well. It all just depends on what your purpose is, but I'm just giving y'all the main. If you're not doing it for the purpose of lowering your student loan payment, it's kind of like, why are you doing it? Okay, just speaking facts to you. Okay, now when it comes to consolidating your private student loans, of course, have at it, go for it, do it. Okay, you're gonna have to do your research on this, and when I say research, you're gonna have to go onto the Googles and you're gonna Google what's the best student loan consolidation. You're gonna have to go ahead and research that and see. There's gonna be so many lists that pop up because I just Googled it and it was like 10 lenders that have the best consolidation for student loans. Like there's going to be different options, different people that your bank, your credit union, a finance company you may have know of, they may do this as well, right? It just all depends. There is no rhyme or reason to which one that you should go to. You should be looking for a company that has low interest rates, right? A reputable company that you want to work with. Make sure that you are understanding all the terms of the agreement that you are getting into before you sign anybody's promissory note to repay and consolidate anything, okay? That's the only thing that I can tell you there. But you just want to look at the companies and see which company works best for you. Once again, this is a free show. For my clients, I do have a list of people that I go to that I think are pretty good. But once again, that's going to be all up to you. Do your research. I want to make sure that I'm giving you the information. Do your research so that you can see which financial institution works best for you to consolidate your private student loans. Woo, where is my water at, child? I am talking, okay? All right, so lastly, I want to go ahead and jump into income-driven repayment plans. I had to drink some water, y'all, because, child, I've been talking. What's that? All right. So when it comes to income-driven repayment plans, lots of people aren't familiar with this, but you should be, okay? You absolutely should be. And so the benefit of income-driven repayment plans is, number one, it's only for people who have federal student loans. Only federal student loan people. Private student loans, you don't qualify for this. Now, I don't want y'all to think that I'm just sitting here just like, for those of y'all that don't got, federal student loans, you just don't qualify for stuff. I, too, have both. I have federal student loan debt and I have private student loan debt. And it's the private student loan debt that makes me want to cuss all the time. All right? Because I'm sitting here with this, no perks, no nothing, because I didn't know about the differences between federal and private student loans before I got the stuff. Okay? It makes me want to pull from the book of cuss. All right? So I want y'all to know I'm in this with y'all. We in this together. All right? But when it comes to the income-driven repayment plans, there are multiple to choose from. And I just want to make sure that I'm naming off what those payment plans are. There's something called revised pay-as-you-earn repayment plan, pay-as-you-earn repayment plan, income-based repayment plan, and then income contingent payment plans, right? You can find all this information on studentaid.gov, right? There's multiple repayment plans because they all have different benefits according to whichever federal student loan type you have, because there are different types of federal student loans. And then also we all have different income levels and different discretionary income. And then also our family size is going to be different. So these differences in income-driven repayment plans are according to your family size, the discretionary income that you have, and then also the type of student loan that you have. So I want you to do your research and go to studentaid.gov so that you can see the details of these different income-driven repayment plans, and you can get more information, child, because you may qualify for one of these. And so what happens is you have to apply. So everything is an application process. It's not just I'm going to submit my name and I'm just going to get it. Boom, it's finished, right? That ain't how it works. You have to apply for it. And the same with these income-driven repayment plans. You can look and see what all they have, see what pertains to your situation, because you should know what your situation is. You should know what type of student loans you have. If you don't, you need to either review your credit report or you go to studentaid.gov and they will show you. Well, studentaid.gov is going to show you the federal student loans that you have. So go there so that way you can understand what type of student loans you have, and go to your credit report too. So that way you, just in case if you need a lender, if you have private, so that way you can see what it is that you have and then see if you qualify for any of these programs, and you can apply accordingly. All right. That's what I wanted to make sure that I was doing during this episode, giving y'all some hope and giving y'all some information so that you can see how you can lower your student loan payments. And you see that you got options. You have refinancing, you have consolidation. You also have income-driven repayment plans if your loans qualify, depending on if you have federal or private student loans. There are options out there for you, so you don't have to suffer in silence, sitting there like, dang, I can't do it. Yes, student loans suck. Once again, book of cuss, I understand. I get it, right? And so please, please, please make sure that you listen to this information. Go to the resource. The biggest resource is studentaid.gov. Man, let me tell you what, this site is so seamless. It's just like everything is right there and you can search what it is that you're looking for. But everything literally is ABC when you get on there. All right. So make sure that you're going there. And so this leads me into my church announcements. And so if y'all want to know more about this, just because I understand the need for wanting to understand this stuff and lower your student loan payments, I am hosting a no cost. I don't like to say free, right? I want to say no cost workshop, and it's called Lower My Student Loan Payments, right? It's going to be, I'm going to say it's going to be about an hour and a half up to 2 hours, just because I'm covering so much. I'm going to talk about strategies for lowering your student loan payments, refinancing your student loans, going a little bit more in depth, consolidating your student loans, understanding those federal income-driven payment plans, and if you qualify. And then I'm also going to go into student loan forgiveness programs. Student loan forgiveness programs is going to be next week's episode, where I'm going to list all of the different forgiveness programs. But in this no cost workshop, I'm going to be going over those things as well. And then I have some bonus content. All right. So if you want to register for my no cost Lower My Student Loan Payments workshop, I'm hosting this on October 20th. You can get all of the details in the show notes, or you can go to my website, IamMindfullyRich.com. I have all of the details there. Once again, it is no cost. You can register so that way you can be in attendance. This is going to be a virtual workshop, so all are invited to attend. Please, please, please. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to allow for there to be a playback, just because I really do want this to be a live workshop where we're all there in conjunction working together. So for the most part, no playback at this time, but it is going to be a live workshop and you can register. Spaces are limited. As you know, people are going to want to jump and be here for this one. All right. So make sure you check out my website, IamMindfullyRich.com, and you can check out, I think it's Work With Me under there, where you can register for the workshop. And also wherever you listening at in the show notes, it should be a link, a hyperlink where you're able to click. All right. Child, it's a long episode, but look, okay, it's warranted. I ain't been here in a while. Okay. For all advertising and sponsorships, yes, I am taking advertisements requests now. So if you want to advertise your business with me, want me to announce it here on the podcast, or if you would like to sponsor the show or a segment, child, make sure y'all hit me up. You can email me. I'm trying to figure out which email address I want y'all to email. You can email me at mindfullyrich at IamMindfullyRich.com. I know that's a lot. Just go back and listen to it. Go ahead and hit me up there. And that's it. That's it, y'all. I am just like super glad to be back. Once again, the episodes will be bi-weekly. So not next week, but the week after next. That's when you can check me out. And I'll be back. In next week's episode, I will be listing and describing each of the forgiveness programs for student loans. So you're not going to want to miss that. And so if you haven't listened to the first episode of the series, make sure you check that out. And child, look, I got 103 episodes. Go ahead and check me out. Lots of great series. Check it out, y'all. Still a one-woman team, so I need y'all to listen. Share this thing far and wide, okay? Y'all is marketing, all right? So that's the only way that people going to hear about it. And word of mouth when it comes to what to listen to, especially podcasts. There's so many podcasts out there. People love word of mouth. So go ahead and spread the news. Yes, spread the good news of the podcast. All right, this thing got lengthy. That's all I got. I want y'all to live life mindfully, intentionally, and on purpose. And until next time, when I hit y'all with another one.